Well, I brought my plants down now for planting on my allotment. My white currants, so there's 2 white currants there, and this is my burberries, the Darwini, and then I've got a number of these plants here which are the tall ones, and they're aronia, chokeberries, and Kentish Cobnuts, and of course my raspberries, which is all gold. And I've got a couple of, well, 2 or 3 little, these are saplings from plum trees, and I've got rock rose, which makes rose hips, and I found another one of these, that's another little filbert which I put in, and there's another rock rose there, and this looks like another aronia, so I'll get them all planted for the sunset. My autumn fruiting raspberries, there's 3 of them all in a line there, and they've gone in this raised bed area at the front of the allotment, and I composted this area for quite a few years, in a good 3 years, and now I'm planting up and seeing what I've got. And the summer fruiting raspberries are behind those canes there, you can see. I pruned these, apparently now is the time when you're supposed to be able to spot when the canes, you know, you've got the dead wood canes. I can see myself by looking along the line, there's some of them there, and they can be cut down because they grow on the second year. These my aronias I've planted right against the fence at the front of this plot. There's a triple branch sapling which has gone in, and best time to do it now because they haven't come, the buds haven't come out yet. So looking forward to seeing how this aronia gets on. I've tried tasting them, they're quite bitter, but apparently they are edible. The Thornless, I've put in 3 or 4 of these along the line. One there, and another Thornless there. These don't tend to propagate as well as the Thorn variety, but it's worth a go this time because they're in bud at the moment mostly. This is where I've planted my horseradish. I don't know that it will be ready for harvesting this year, and I've chosen an area where the previous occupant had these polystyrene lined aluminium panels that came from a huge garden shed, and he obviously wanted to have these beds. He didn't put any compost in them, and I've just left it as it is on the clay soil. I haven't built it up, but apparently these will spread, and I don't mind them spreading here because I've tried growing all sorts here and it hasn't really worked out too well. And we'll see how they get. At the moment I'm trying to sort of get rid of any pests, and I've put in large clumps of garlic going along both lines, and it seemed to work quite well to get rid of any soil pests. Found 2 white currants this year, and they've gone in on the end of a line of other currants. Some black currant there and another black currant there, and the second white currants there, and these looked very healthy. There was a special deal on these at one of my local stores, and I thought, well, why not give it a go. And the black currant have really been severely pruned. I've propagated these a lot on the plot, mostly because the soil down this end of the plot is incredibly damp, almost waterlogged, but these currants have been okay in that soil. The rhubarb here has gone absolutely mad. It really has sprouted, and I've got my thorny blackberries which I've propagated down here. But as you can see along this raised bed here, it's an old raised bed here, it really has. I haven't forced any of it. I know some people do force rhubarb, but this has done extremely well, and very pleased with it. Now this scrawny little stick, you can see it's only got the pink buds on it, is actually a filbert, and that will grow to be quite a tall specimen. And the idea is you grow the filbert with this little sapling here, which is a Kentish cobnut, and they cross-pollinate each other, and you've got another little filbert there ready, and this is a mature specimen that I put in myself when I first got the plot a few years back. It's done very well, as you can see, and that's a Kentish cobnut. I've not got any catkins on it yet, because it's still a bit young, but the general size of it, I'll try and keep it to about this size, which is like 6 to 8 feet. I mean, it'll need. My burberry plant has been put here, and it's facing southwest, and it's up against a fence on a border between my allotment and another one. And basically this thing can spread to 2 meters by 2 meters. I've seen one outside a library in North Nottinghamshire, and it's huge hedge. It's probably been there for decades, and this will produce yellow flowers and very large blue edible fruit. I thought I'd give this a whirl. Popped into my Wilco's, and they've got hedging blackthorn. You get a whole collection of these shrubs, if I show you. So it's not just the one, you get the whole. If I pop it out the box gently, you get this big bundle. And this one here, it's been a bit starved of light, so the leaves are slightly yellow, but I'm going to have this blackthorn sloes growing all along the border between me and my very good neighbour along here. So this fence here is a perfect place for which to lay the hedge. I've already got some traditional things from Notts, Midlands. These are a local blackberry, very thorny, and these would have been known thousands of years ago to people who lived on the river round here, you know, Iron Age, Stone Age even, people who were hunter-gatherers. The other plants I've got there, that's a goji there, but the idea is to get a nice slow blackthorn hedge all the way along here. I tried growing these from seed because I always do collect seeds, but so far all I've had is basically tiny little saplings, and they just seem to be the run to the litter, so I might as well go with a proper set of hedges. These were very reasonably priced, and I was of course attracted by this wonderful picture, because when I go out and about in the countryside I do gather sloes. I'm not a gin drinker, but I have made jams out of this, so I thought, well, give it a go. Here on the River Trent, and it's what used to be the old kingdom of Mercia, which was a Saxon kingdom before the big battles with the Vikings. King Canute, who came into England, landed, came up the River Trent. Actually at Gainsborough I've seen the monuments there to the Vikings, but before the arrival of the Vikings this was the kingdom of Mercia, and this was known as the belly of England, the Midlands, on the River Trent. And these are the sort of thing people would eat, these sloes. This set of hedging plants I've got, you've got 12 little saplings, some of them more vigorous than others, as you can see, but I'll space them out. There's little instructions in the box. Very pleased to reintroduce these back on the allotments, and a lot of the sloes on the river, the native ones, people point them out on, are usually on the Trent hills, but we're missing a lot of hedgerows that really have been terribly grubbed out, so it's up to us gardeners to grow them. Here we have my first blackthorn sloe, my first baby. Very proud of this one, and it's have 11 partners next to it forming the sloe hedge. So there you go, blackthorn sloes. Just through the afternoon mists, you could, just as I pan the camera, you can see the Trent hills there, and that is a ridge of hills that forms a backdrop. That's across the River Trent from where I am now, and the Vikings came along that River Trent there. So I met someone from a village called East Bridgeford, and she told me they actually the Vikings sacked the church there, which was the Saxon church, on their way. They're after plate and silver, etc. And you can just imagine those Vikings, they had shallow draft boats rowing up the Trent there, with all the warriors going up there on their way, and they overwintered at a place called Repton, and there was a big battle fought on a hill not far from there, one of many battles fought between the Saxons and the Vikings. So there you go.